Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Guys on Sports. Today, we're talking AFC running back tiers. We're going to go through each division, tell you where we have these running backs ranked as far as tier goes for your fantasy season in 2025. All right, guys, so what's going on? How are we feeling today?
That's much more politically
better,
correct.
right?
Yeah. No, I'm feeling great. This is honestly my favorite time of the season, fantasy season. Everything's still possible.
Before it starts?
Yeah, everything's possible. I mean, I'm a Browns fan, so best season is the off season. We are starting to see camps, starting to see some, stats, even if they're a little bit convoluted, and everybody's a stud. Jackson Dart, he's going to set the world on fire.
Yeah.
Shador Samuels, killing it.
That's a guy.
Sanders.
That is a guy.
Samuels. Yeah.
Samuels.
Anyways, I'm good.
All right, well, Rocky, that's how. Anybody else, anything to add on the panel before we get into the hard-nosed stats?
Well, like this time of year, you can now the players that are pretty much going to start, unless there's injuries or some stud breaks out. But for the most part, the rosters are pretty much aligned, so you can start doing your predictions, and which is what we do.
Yeah, and if you follow the show in the offseason, you got a guy like Mark who's drafting teams in February, so you would have a leg up on your teams or who you're targeting. But I'll pitch it to you, Mark. You're going to be talking about the AFC East.
By the way, Mark,
okay,
it's a great shirt.
That is a great shirt, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's actually my favorite, maybe that you ever worn.
Have you ever heard the term of stepping on somebody's toes?
No.
No. Okay.
This is one of my favorite shirts that I own, and I do like to break this out occasionally because
I mean, I like what it says about America right there.
we're all about the U.S. of A.
Yeah.
Mullets,
bit-
bald eagles,
A
and
little bit
sweatbands,
badass.
baby.
Like we ain't taking this back seat to nobody.
Some
You know what I'm saying?
shades.
Walmart sold a shirt that day.
Is that from Walmart?
No,
Columbia?
no. I think this is
Target?
No,
What are you looking for?
there's like a patch on it somewhere. It tells you
From
Think
the
it's under your arm?
Hey, he's still got the sales tag, so
It's
he
from
can
the-
return it.
No, I can't remember what website I got it from. It's from the Tipsy
Tipsy Elves.
Elves.
Right. Shout out Tipsy Elves. Sponsor
Hey,
us.
support us.
Fantastic merch.
So I'm going to give you a little guidance
America.
here. I know we didn't talk about this, but I think it might be best if you have multiple running backs from a team, go by team instead of jumping around. Kind of just keep it in a ball.
I get what you're saying there, but I have an ulterior motive here because I can talk about all four backups at once. So I have the AFC East, and what I will say is that the AFC East is loaded with talent at running back. There's a lot of running backs that should be coming off of your draft boards very, very early, especially if you go running back heavy. If you want to get top 10 to 12 running backs off of the board before everybody else, there are at least 3 of them here to do so. But what I will say, the reason why I said I have an ulterior motive is that for me, this is the most loaded handcuff field division in the entire league as well. These 4 handcuffs are instant plug and play, full-on workload, workhorse type of backs if their predecessor gets a season-ending injury. Because of that reason, the running back, the RB1s for these teams might be cut into a little bit, third down production, late in games, some touchdowns vultured. But I will say that I have all of these backup running backs for all 4 teams. So that's Ray Davis, that's Braylon Allen, that's Jalen Wright, and that's Ramondre Stevenson. With the exception of Stevenson, I have Stevenson as a B. The other 3 is C's just based on production. Each of them instantly go to an A if they become the RB1s for this team, an instant production. So that is my ulterior motive for wanting to mention all of them at once. They are immense talent as the handcuffs. These guys you do want to get as handcuffs for your RB1s if you get them. And in the drafts that I've been doing, the ADP for the most part you can. You can still get these handcuffs around when you start drafting handcuffs in your backup squads, which is rounds 13, 14, with the exception of maybe Stevenson because of the uncertainty with the rookie Travion Henderson coming in and automatically taking over RB1 duties. Stevenson does tend to go a little bit higher than Ray Davis, Braylon Allen, and Jalen Wright. With that being said, let's get into the 4 RB1s. Again, this is loaded. I'm going to start with my A's because all I have here are A's and S's. I think Travion Henderson is not only going to come in as the RB1, I think he's going to come in and solidify a 3-down back type of role. Loved what he did at Ohio State. He can block. Everybody knows that is the pathway to being a 3-down back in the NFL, let alone the New England Patriots system. And Henderson proved that. At Ohio State, if they do one thing right, they teach the running backs how to block because their quarterbacks don't know how to throw the ball. And because of that, they need running backs that can block, especially on the blind side. So Travion Henderson is going to have a huge workload. Stevenson was sub 1,000 yards last year and 8 total touchdowns. Sub 1,000 overall yards, all-purpose yards and 8 total touchdowns. So there's a lot of meat on the bone there. I think Henderson can come in, probably produce 1,300 to 1,400 all-purpose yards and get in double-digit touchdowns in that revamped offense with Drake May. Next up, I have as an A, only because there is some uncertainty with injuries in the past. He came back last year. He produced pretty well. 1,300 all-purpose yards, 8 touchdowns as well. And that is Breece Hall. The only thing that bothers me with Breece Hall is that he does have Braylon Allen, who is also a very capable back, breathing down his neck. So does Breece Hall have a short leash? I'm not real sure. Also, the addition of Justin Fields there. I will tell you that Justin Fields last year in Chicago, between the 2 backs that he had in the backfield, I think it was Montgomery and Herbert. Between the 2 of them, they had 1,500 total yards. So Justin Fields doesn't take all of the running yardage. He actually opens up lanes for his backs, and I think Breece Hall can return to form there. Now let's get into our S tier guys. Devin Achane and James Cook. You know, as far as touchdown production, I don't know that James Cook repeats last year's performance. 18 touchdowns is an awful lot to ask to do again. But from a total yardage perspective, he had 38 receptions, I believe, but he only had 1,250 all-purpose yards last year. So I think he can much improve on that. I think with this offense and getting a couple more weapons at wideout, I think with hopefully Dalton Kincaid coming back healthy, hopefully that spreads the field, and James Cook might even open up a couple more lanes. I really see him. James Cook is definitely going to break half a dozen long touchdown runs next year, hands down. He's going to end up with double digits again. I just don't know if 18 is the number, but I really think he's going to be above 1,500 total yards. Every year we love him, and every year he just keeps getting better. So I think James Cook is going to be very good in that offense. Cook, you are getting probably around RB 10 to 12 off the board right now. So my last S tier, Devin Achane. Achane is coming off in the back end of round 1. If you're lucky enough for him to come back around early round 2, it's a guy, 1,500 total yards, 12 total touchdowns. That offense is what that offense is. They didn't make any changes. You have Tyreek Hill a year slower. You have Jalen Waddle, which I don't know if those pictures on the internet are true. I don't know if he's really 300 pounds or not, but those pictures are ridiculous. He looks like a big, plump, juicy S in that backfield.
It's like David Boston.
Yeah, he looks like a big, thick dude in the huddle. But again, the offense is what the offense is. They already know the system. Achane is a playmaker. Achane's going to break his normal runs. Achane's going to get goal line work. He is the 3-down back there. For that reason, Devin Achane is the top S in this division and the leader of the pack in the AFC East.
That was a lot of words.
That was a lot of words.
Tried to condense it. You know, I tried to make it. It was wordy.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I'd say, any pushback from anybody on what our friend Mark said there? Are we all kind of on the same page?
Well, Henderson, the one thing is you put him at A already. There's no doubt in your mind coming out of being a rookie that he wouldn't be like a B.
No, I think if he comes out and he is the guy, he's going to be a 3-down back, and the production is there on the table. He's going to be an A right off the bat.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, my only pushback is Trevion, amazing back, and I agree with you. I think he is the best blocker coming out at running back, which will keep him on the field.
Yes.
And he has enough of the ability to catch a pass. In fact, against Texas, took a simple screen pass, one cut, and was gone. Yeah. And he, I think, has one of the prettiest one-cut moves of any running back coming out of the draft. I do think they're going to work him in a timeshare because he does better in a timeshare. So he's not the biggest back, and his running style is pretty violent. I do agree with you that if he can stay healthy, I think he is a back that could be like somebody we're talking about at the end of the year that got you to the playoffs.
Yeah, and out of all of those RB1s, he is obviously going the cheapest. I want to say he's probably coming off the board somewhere around round 8, round 9, I believe. Not real sure because I haven't targeted him a whole bunch as of yet in my drafts. But as I mentioned either last week or the week before, I can't remember now, the one concern that I have with Travion is the fact that Ramondre Stevenson is still there, knows the system is a big back, and will vulture some of those goal line touches.
Yeah, he's not a terrible back in any stretch. Like, he's looked competent.
Yeah.
But that's my only concern about Henderson. But I don't have a lot of pushback on anything else. I think the other ones, Brees, like you said, injuries are the concern, but
he still came back. I was surprised when I read that he was 1,300 all-purpose yards.
Yeah.
I thought it was significantly lower.
well, especially in that offense, because they got cooking at the end,
Yeah.
but they didn't look good for long stretches.
For a
Aaron
long
was
time.
really knocking off rust. You
Yeah.
know. So.
Yeah, James Cooking, I agree. I don't think you get 18 touchdowns again.
Yeah, that's a lot to ask.
That being said, I do think he could approach it. I think he could still be 12, maybe a little bit more.
Are you worried at all about the rumors of him pushing hard for a contract, being really unhappy, and even like rumors, whispers that he would sit out for that contract?
Didn't he show up though to camp or no?
He did. He showed up, but then if I'm remembering correctly, he was very dismissive. Like, you could tell he was not happy, and he is pushing hard for that. And to be honest, I think he deserves that contract.
Well, let's just hope that he doesn't go in his brother's route and in his footsteps. We see what happened to Dalvin in Minnesota, and Dalvin was probably still at the height of his, maybe not the height of his career, but Dalvin was still
Productive, yeah.
a very
productive,
productive
yeah.
back when all that happened.
Yeah. I always forget he's Dalvin's brother.
You ready, brother?
Yeah.
All right, Jay, tell us a little bit about the AFC West, man.
The AFC West.
I think this is complete opposite of the East. It's just no real standouts, no S's.
It actually is.
Touche.
Yep.
So I'll lead with the best one in the division. Eddie's the rookie, Ashton. He could be possibly the best rookie running back coming straight out because of not just his ability, but the carries that he's going to have, the abilities of being able to score and anything, 2 yards in, he's going to be the guy. There's no backup at all. The guy was a rookie last year, and he got hurt, so he didn't even play. Chip Kelly's a running style type of guy. I think Ohio State with him threw a lot because Day was like, we got too many weapons, start passing. Geno Smith's going to help him out quite a bit. The one thing is for dynasties, he may be running to the ground by like our third year because I worry he could be
Overused?
an Eddie from Ohio State. Eddie George.
Eddie George.
How do you forget that name?
I still had Eddie.
He did have the important one.
Head coach of the Bowling Green football program.
He's a
Old
great,
Green trying to turn things around.
great guy, yeah.
Not Bruce Campbell. Earl Campbell. Those type of running backs where he's just going to take a lot of punishment. Yeah. So I just worry about injuries later on.
Why are you laughing?
Bruce Campbell. It's like
He's
Eddie,
a great actor.
Eddie, yeah.
You said Bruce Campbell?
At first, I changed it.
Army of Darkness. Evil
I don't
Dead.
have a good memory with the seizures, okay?
Yeah, that's why.
Ash.
I don't remember my kid's name sometimes.
What's Ash's last name? Ash.
Genty? I know I guess first name. Maybe that would be my thing, messing up on names.
Well, we've all been there. Yeah, I do it all the time.
So I would mark him still as an A just because he's going to get so many carries. He's going to put a lot of work. The only real receiving guy they have that's proven is the tight end, Bowers.
Why'd you say it like that?
Brock Bowers. Yes.
Boom, got that one.
Yeah. Yes.
I just got to check,
Yeah.
I got live fact checking.
Brock Bowers?
Question mark? So I think he's an A tier. Then I'll go to the Chiefs. I don't like the Chiefs. Pacheco. Got that one. I think he's going to be projected like the 27th running back. Hunt had 728 yards last year. What are you shaking your head for?
I'm not moving.
Bro.
That's crazy.
So Hunt is still relatively young, younger than I thought. So I think he's still going to be able to get a lot of yards from him. So based on both of them, and Pachenko had a leg injury last year, 310 yards. I think they're both C's, and they're going to totally split everything. Hunt is the better receiver, so that could get him on the field a slightly bit more. Jump down to the Chargers. That's why I have everything written down. Like you write down like nothing on your paper because you remember everything.
Some of it, not all of it.
So Chargers, Hampton. I'll go with that last name.
Isn't it Omari?
Omari.
No, it might be Rodney.
Yeah.
Rodney Hampton.
Good old Rodney Hampton. Yeah.
So rookie again. A lot of rookies in this
Yeah, so
division.
very deep. Yep.
Went from North Carolina. Harbaugh loved him. He said he was his draft pick no matter what, except if they got blown away with an offer. Everything. He lies a lot, so who even knows?
Oh boy.
Lies, cheats, you know.
Yeah. I think he cheated on his wife, too.
The Browns are cheating a little more.
So they're very high on him. So he's going to run the ball. The only bad thing is Najee Harris. I thought Najee Harris wasn't as good as the stats, but he's had 4 straight seasons over 1,000 yards. He had 6 touchdowns last year. I think that's going to hurt Hampton right away. They paid Najee a lot of money. You're not going to just want to sit that guy on the bench right away. But I think Hampton's got upside, and I gave him a B and Najee a C because I think early on it'll be a split, and then Hampton will just start taking away the running, start taking away the touchdowns.
So let me ask you something. Are you in a regular redraft? Where are you drafting Are you drafting Hampton?
Or you drafted Hampton before Najee?
Well, I think no. In a
I would
redraft, no.
I mean, I'm asking because I think there will be people in some of my redraft leagues that will.
Well, if y'all want to know.
What about you? I've asked him. So,
It's my turn.
yeah, let him answer.
But the other,
If it's super late and you need a run back, I would go with Hampton. But Najee would probably be more of your plug and play third option that if he's starting, you're going to get some points out of.
Yeah.
But neither one of them I would start, right back 1 or 2 until maybe Hampton later in the season he might be able to break out.
Quickly, Mark, go ahead.
so Hampton is going 3 to 4 rounds ahead of Najee Harris. Even
In redraft?
Yep.
Which is like
10 and 12 man redrafts too.
that's what I'm
I think that's-
seeing and reading, but I think that's kind of crazy.
The price is way too steep in a redraft league. Hampton is a guy that you might want there at the back end of the season, but you should not pay a round 4, round 5 premium for a back end of the season guy,
Yeah, no.
especially in best ball leagues.
All right. Yep.
And then lastly, you got Denver, RJ.
Wow.
Harvey.
I just want to on Jay's behalf.
There's captions
RG3.
here.
He's a tough time with the written word, but go ahead.
Right north. There is captions if you turn them on.
Yeah.
That will help you out quite a bit.
Yep.
He is a rookie from UCF. Tons of upside on him. But then Denver went out and got the stud, Ohio State, Dobbins. I think that's going to hurt him.
The stud.
He was healthy last year, 905 yards, 9 touchdowns. Harvey's got the benefit. He is a dual threat, PPR. He's young. They have a great new play caller there. They have what looks like it's going to be a top 10 type of quarterback, easy, with a possible top 5 receiver if he gets in the ball. I know Rocky's in love with him. Probably buy him a ring later this year.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I would like to.
You're good. He's a gentleman.
Cortland.
He is a handsome
Beautiful
devil.
man. Yeah.
So I do have him as a C just because of bringing in Dobbins. Dobbins has a great track record. But I have Dobbins also as C because they're going to handcuff each other so much. I don't know how long of the deal is for Dobbins.
I think it was a 2-year deal, and if you listen
I can look it up.
if you listen to what Dobbins said, it was really peculiar because, like most times when you get signed, you parrot back what you're being told, and I think what he was told is it will be a split running back duty. We are primed for the playoffs, if not the Super Bowl. And he came out and said, "I'm tired of losing in the first round of the playoffs.
He did say that. I seen that.
I'm coming here to split the role." And people forget Dobbins. Like when he came out, he had a 2,000-yard season at Ohio State. Had never been done, I don't believe. And he's been hurt a ton, but he had talent. That first year until he got hurt, we were all pretty high. And
he dominated the Clemson. Was it the Clemson game?
Yeah.
Until he sprained his.
So Dobbins signed a 1-year deal.
Wow. Yeah. So they don't
He's
have
only
much.
he's only 26.
And he's only known timeshares to this point too, so he has no problem being in a timeshare.
Not at all.
He
He's
split
an
in
unselfish
Baltimore with the same guy that followed him
Gus.
to Gus, who
West.
followed him out to L.A. He is your quintessential timeshare back, and Sean Payton. Timeshares have worked for Sean Payton in the past too.
They have, and
he had
he's-
the Jamal Williams, Alvin Kamara duo.
Well,
when
they
he was with
always
New
talk
Orleans.
about Sean Payton, and they talk about his ability to call plays for passers, and he's good, but they minimize his ability as a run. He's a great running backs coach. Like he's thrived with it. He's produced some really great seasons for.
Sure has.
Yeah.
And you
So
got
for-
stuck with a crap division,
I know.
dude.
But for if
Well, he picked it.
if it's a dynasty,
So.
you might want to draft Harvey early.
Yeah.
But a regular type of thing, I would definitely put him in the back burner just because they're going to share. But once Dobbins gone, they'll probably give
So let me
PJ
ask you a question because
RJ free reign.
I know you're high on RJ, and I know you're high on RJ. So what am I not seeing? Because I watched
TV.
a fair amount of UCF games. I do think he's a talented back. And he's a little bit, if my memory serves, a little bit undersized. So what do you guys see? Because Denver is crowded not only with JK, but they also drafted a running back they were really high on the year before that got hurt and didn't get a chance to prove himself, Audric Estime out of Notre Dame. I don't know that I feel comfortable saying RJ is automatically going to jump Audric.
He's got good hands.
Yes.
He's got that quick cut and quick burst, and then top high end speed.
Yeah.
And if you watch his highlight reels, he's let's face it, he plays for a team that should never be a national championship contender, right?
And he
UCF,
plays behind
'cause
a
they
bad
just
line,
Don't,
you're
they just
right,
don't
yeah.
play the competition necessary. And with that being said, he made the best of what he had to work with there at UCF.
Yeah.
And I like him a lot.
Phone's got off.
Yep.
And with rookie running backs, the same with the Raiders. They had Colley. They drafted him and he got hurt. You're going to be so far behind the 8 ball for this guy to be able to not just jump ahead of the next rookie that they just spent a high draft pick on. And then you got to jump Dobbins. He's not going to get the reps in practice to prove that he's even worth it. Because you're now paying this new running back more than you are paying the last year's running back. So you're just not. I don't think you're going to play 2 years ago rookie.
That's a good point, and I would agree with you. I also think that this is a division that, again, I'm high on that Brashard Smith from Kansas City too. That once Fat Andy figures out that Brashard Smith is the best fit for that high octane offense, this is gonna be a division that has 4 rookie RB1s in it too.
Wow.
And the Chiefs have rebuilt their receiving core.
Yeah,
So
it's built for speed.
they're the
and they've
third.
Built
improved
for
their
speed.
line too. And they've improved their line.
They're the third highest projected betting line for winning the Super Bowl, and I thought they would. They were going to be kind of over. That was their window, and they rebuilt it enough to at least be back in the conversation again.
We shall see, shan't we?
Fast wide receivers and a rebuilt offensive line. What is Fat Andy up to? Mahomes is about to have a career year.
I don't agree, but hey, we'll see. All right, so I'm going to go to the NFC, or not the NFC. I'm going to go to the AFC North.
Best for last.
I'm going to save you for last. AFC North, near and dear to your hearts. I want you guys to, jump in if you think something's wrong. You guys are the experts on the division. I did some digging, but I'll start in Baltimore. This is not going to be long for me here. Derrick Henry, S tier. 2,100 total yards and 18 touchdowns last season. The way I reasoned this out, that you don't have to really think about it. If he dropped by 20% of his production last year, he's still just under 1,700 yards, about 14 and a half touchdowns. I don't even think you're thinking about the next running back on that team, who is Justice Hill, who I have as a C, unless you're getting the handcuff. Justice Hill is Justice Hill, and that's kind of it. I'm not rostering him unless I have Derrick Henry on my roster, and I think that makes things pretty easy in Baltimore.
He's got an added incentive too. I don't know if
Who's
you've
that?
seen all the social media
Henry?
stirrings. Yes, but Derrick Henry has the added incentive of if he crosses the 2,000-yard barrier again, his favorite actor of all time, Mr. Adam Sandler, will cast him a part in an upcoming Adam Sandler role.
I can see that happening.
Is that a punishment too?
hey, are you an Adam Sandler hater?
Was that Mystery Movie 3 with Jennifer Aniston? Is he gonna
That
pop
wasn't
him out
good,
of
but
that?
I mean, the first one was okay. All right. So moving
unfair.
on.
Pixels 2.
Moving on. Pixels suck. Okay. But I mean, the overall body of work.
But I've been proving it. I just named
it be
2 movies,
big?
and you're like, yeah,
Maybe
you're
you'd
right,
cast
Jay.
him
Yeah,
in
but
a big
you-
But you
you
didn't
also-
name any of the good ones.
Billy Madison.
Maybe
one of
Big
the greatest of
Stepdad.
all
I don't
time.
think he's going to redo Billy Madison though. I'm
Billy
talking like
Madison.
you
He's
can make
redoing Happy
sequels.
Gilmore.
Yeah,
He's
you
doing
can
a
do
part
it. It's
two.
just
He's doing a
golf.
part two.
All right, sorry,
He's going to
director.
go back to school at
right?
the end. Was he Rodney
It's the
Dangerfield?
wrong show, all right?
No
So
respect.
what was
I
that?
tell you,
Yeah,
no
Derrick
respect.
Henry, S tier, Justice Hill, C tier. We'll move on to your Browns. Okay, so Nick Chubb leaves town. We're going to talk about Quinshon Judkins. All right, I'm going to go out on a limb here. Quinshon Judkins, I'm going to say B tier. 64% of his yards came after first contact. Goal-to-goal rushing rate of 86%. That's per PFF. I know you don't love PFF, but we're rocking with them right now. Red zone conversion rate, 64.7. That was second in FBS. 3.18 yards per carry after contact. Very balanced runner. He's not going to, take it 80 yards and outrun NFL players, but good vision, contact balance, all the stuff you need for a 3-down back. I think he's the guy in Cleveland. So because we haven't seen it in the NFL yet, that's why I don't have him A tier, but I think B is right where he needs to be for this season. On the other hand, Jerome Ford, I have at C tier. He had his opportunities, and he's right. Well, we didn't define our tiers before the show, so sorry about that. We have to do that. Yeah. This is another case where I'm only rostering Jerome Ford if I have Judkins or if I'm very light with running back depth. He might have a game or two where he pops in and does something. He might fill in for Judkins, and he'd probably be the lead back in that situation. I know. Is Foreman still there?
No, it's
No.
Dylan
Sampson.
Dylan Sampson.
Dylan
It's the
Sampson.
third.
I have him on here. I have nothing about him. He's a 4th-round rookie, right? So, yeah, Jerome Ford's the only other guy I would really look at. You could school me on Sampson because I haven't really looked into him. Is there anything we need to know about Sampson?
I mean, I agree with what you're saying. I think much like what you said about Henderson, Judkins is a pure 3-down back. He's another great blocker. You're right. He's probably not he's not the quickest, but he was faster than what they thought he would be in his 40-yard dash. This is a guy, you give him the ball, he runs the style of rushing that Stefanski wants. He is going to get you probably 4 yards every time he touches the ball. He's an adequate receiver out of the backfield, and he has a nose for the touchdown.
Exactly, yeah.
Against the best teams last year, he shined. He had 3 touchdowns, I believe, against Notre Dame, and he could not be stopped. And what they were known for was their D-line. The guy he isn't a burner, but he is going to probably wear you down. He reminds me, and this is a big leap, he runs similarly to Derrick Henry.
Okay.
He is violent. He is very hard to take down. If you look at his running style, it's Henry. If you look at the bottom half of his body, he has,
he's built. He's big.
built, man.
He don't skip leg day.
Yeah, and so he's a great back. I think he could by the end of the year. I think this is a guy. If you're in a dynasty, you're taking him, and you're hanging on. You might have a guy
100%.
for 5-6 yards.
For redraft purposes, he's in the same situation that Omarion Hampton is in, whereas he's being drafted probably 8-9 rounds ahead of
Yes.
Jerome Ford, who is at current the incumbent starter, though, which is
Yeah.
The problem with
just-
Jerome Ford is he had the opportunity. He
Numerous
didn't
times.
thrive.
Yeah.
He has looked good, and if you look at his advanced stats, they're pretty solid.
Yeah.
The problem is he tends to be feast or famine.
Yeah.
So he is quick. He can catch out of the backfield. Not a great blocker. I don't know that by the end of the year, it's going to be Dylan and Quinchon.
Jerome Ford had 3 games, double digit fantasy points last season.
Yeah.
He had a bunch of clunkers. I just his size. I just don't believe that he'll ever really be a lead back. So I think once Judkins gets his feet wet, learns the system, kind of gets adjusted to the speed, I think he's the guy.
Oh, there's no doubt going forward, Judkins is going to be the guy. It's just in a redraft league, you always have to enter with caution on those guys that might not get that until week 4, week 5.
You're right.
I think out of all the rookies we talked about today, I think the only one that has like the truest path to getting early season work is Henderson and New England.
I still think Judkins.
I agree
For the
with-
record, I think he gets he'll get goal line
do too.
touches. That's
Yeah.
what I think.
yeah.
I do too, because like Stefanski is not a coach who says much. Often his like press conferences are vanilla. Both Andrew Berry and Stefanski said he is a bell cow back, and he runs the way Stefanski likes to run. Like he likes that,
Love camp talk, baby.
All right,
Love
so
camp
going
talk.
on to
That's fair.
the better side of the pond over here, Cincinnati. We'll talk about Chase Brown. I feel like Chase Brown, maybe on the show, maybe it's just me, has been a little bit overhyped. I have him B tier. And for me, it's solely based on opportunity, specifically his pass catching. So Chase Brown, to be he, after contact, just over 3 yards after contact, so that's great. 23 explosive runs last year. But from last year and the year before, his breakaway run rate dropped in half. Breakaway run rate is runs that are 15-plus yards down the field. His rate of hitting on those went from about 9.4% to 4.5%. So you don't like to see that. But in the air, he had 54 catches, 360 yards, 4 touchdowns, 12.5% target share. So those are all good things, even in an offense that has all the talent that they do on the outside. He seems to be the release valve for Joe Burrow. So I think he's kind of solidified where he is. Solid back. B tier is a guy that, you can start every week. You know what his floor is. Maybe not the highest ceiling, but you can count on him to kind of give you what he's going to give you. So I love Chase Brown there. Zach Moss, who we kind of pumped up before last season, coming back off the injury. He's just getting into rehab, running on like rehab fields on the side with the team. So nothing really there. When he does come back, I have him as a tier D if you wanted to hold on to him as a cuff. Taj Brooks is there. There's a couple other guys, but nothing really of note. I think Chase Brown's the guy you're paying attention to, especially in redrafts right now, and just kind of keep eyes on how stuff looks with the guys in back of him. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but go ahead.
What's his carry rate?
His who?
Brown's carry rate. Like last year they were playing from behind. Did it drop from the previous year? Like a huge drop?
I don't know. Do you
No,
know?
I think it actually
10.
increased.
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
No, I think it actually.
Oh, I could look it up. His carry rate?
I
this
think
thing
you're
in front of
right.
me.
Like
Let me see.
a little bit about the overhype. I think why I hype him is that I love the offense he's in, and I know that because the receivers are so good, they're often the defense is not able to stack the box, and so Chase he's a good. Like I agree, he's a B.
He's
not-
good.
He's good. He's not elite. He's not an S, but he's good enough in a more less crowded line to score, and
So
he can score.
You're saying carry rate?
Like, because you were talking
The
about
number of carries per game.
yeah. Because most of the time you said he has really long runs, breakaways.
Well, that was about rushes 15
Because that
plus
was
yards.
mostly by default his offensive receivers being spread out, like you said, and having wide open lanes to be able to run that yardage. So is he getting 100 yards a game per se off 10 carries?
Oh, I get what you're saying. So what I was saying though is that last year, as opposed to the year before, it actually dropped. So he had less. Were you thinking I
Big
said he had
runs.
more?
No,
he had
he-
less big runs. Yeah.
Right, but his carries per game, do you think we're gonna have even a bigger drop in carries per game? That would hurt his fantasy value.
This year, no, I don't think so. I think it would be increasing. I mean, who's taking carries away from him?
Well, I think he's got a semi-improved line.
Thrower.
Well,
he's
but
12.
remember, they were playing by behind a lot.
That's what I'm
They're gonna
saying.
be playing them behind again a lot this
Yeah,
year.
but then
too.
he's
Their
going to get.
defense is-
Well,
But
you're
he's
right. The defense is
12.5% target share for me means that he's just getting that again.
Because
So
they're such a cheap team, they're not even signing their rookie. When
Yeah, I
they,
know, that's
when,
pretty crazy.
When there's a rookie
Yeah,
spectrum of what you pay, where you draft
This
them.
owner should
They should sell, yeah.
He's the worst owner in the league. He is.
To get back to Chase Brown, what I will tell you is not for anything wrong with Chase Brown. I think that he's in a perfect situation.
yes,
He's the only name in town.
only viable guy. Yeah.
He's going to get all of their running back touches. What I don't like is this year you're paying a premium for him. You're paying in the third round. You're drafting him right around when you're drafting Jonathan Taylor, which to me is just wild.
No, that's crazy.
But he's going ahead of guys like Kyron Williams, Breece Hall, Alvin Kamara, James Cook, Joe Mixon. For me, what you're going to get out of Chase Brown, that's a little bit too high. I'd rather draft wide receiver there and then come back and get one of those other running backs I just mentioned.
The only pushback I would give, and I'm not crazy about Brown, but I think 12.5% target rate is a lot for a back, and that is, without really being part of the offense for the first 3 weeks last year.
I guess that would make my argument null and void then.
No, so say it, yes.
Because didn't T Higgins sat out for a few games to start the season too, right?
Yeah,
Or did he
I think-
not?
I think there was 2 games
Yeah.
that he sat out.
All right, so it wouldn't have even mattered because Brown didn't play in those games anyway.
All right, moving on to the last team in the division, your favorite, Pittsburgh Steelers. So we're going to talk about Mr. Caleb Johnson, who I surprisingly, and this is another me going out on a limb a little bit, but I have him as a B. Caleb Johnson last season in college, 4.42 yards after contact. That was second in class. 66 missed tackles, 33% missed tackle rate. So he could break tackles and extend runs. 43 explosive runs, 56.1 breakaway percentage. That was the best in the class. 21 runs over 20 yards. So he could hit home runs, and he carried the ball 240 times and still averaged over 6 yards a carry, about 6.5 yards per carry. So he was productive. Pittsburgh, they're going to want to run the ball even with Aaron Rodgers in town. I think they need to keep the defense honest with a guy with his injury history the last few years. So I think there's going to be a heavy dose of running the ball. Jalen Warren is in town. I have him at C+ tier. He's the only guy that got a plus from me. He's going to have a little bit of a larger role with who were we talking about earlier, that left town?
Justin
Najee
Fields,
Harris.
Russell Wilson.
No.
Najee Harris.
Najee Harris. With
running
Najee
back.
Harris
Oh,
leaving
no,
town.
no,
We're going for running backs.
But I think most likely I think we know what Jalen Warren is. I think last year we had the inkling that maybe he could be better or show more of that flash that he showed 2 seasons ago. But I think he is what he is. I think he's a guy, change the pace, catches the ball out of the backfield. He can have some big games. That's why I have him with the plus. I think there's going to be times where you can start him in your flex when he's going good, that you could get something out of him. But mostly for me, he's kind of a bye-week option and maybe backup for Caleb Johnson. I think he's going to stay in his role. I would like to see what happens in camp to see if there's somebody that challenges Caleb. I don't know if they bring a veteran in or something like that. But as for right now, I have Caleb Johnson at B tier. I think he's kind of built to do what Pittsburgh wants to do. Have Jalen Warren change the pace at C+ tier.
Yeah. Caleb is another guy that I was happy the Browns didn't draft him. So, because there was a lot of rumors that the Browns were going to pick him up in the second or third round. I was really excited that they got Quinshon. I do like Caleb, and for every reason you're saying, but the Iowa offense runs more 13 personnel than almost any other college program. So you got these huge, and they're known as tight end U.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he ran behind basically a line of 7 guys, and they're big and talented blockers. He looked clunky when he ran. Like, he didn't look as fluid as some of the other running backs. So I was happy that Pittsburgh took a chance on him. But I agree, in that offense, I do think that they know how to highlight running backs. I do think he is, even being a little bit more of a clunky, I do think he could be a B.
looking at his stats last year, they are kind of eye popping. He had 1,500 yards.
did,
He
yeah.
averaged 6.4 yards a carry,
They did.
Said that.
Yeah. Yeah.
and he had like 6 runs of 40 yards or greater.
Yep.
So I mean, the guy.
Yeah. No,
Well, yeah, he had 21 runs over 20. That was second in the nation.
Maybe not the greatest hands. 22
No.
receptions.
Yeah, but that's
but
what
Iowa
Jalen
doesn't
Warren's
throw
gonna-
that much
that's-
either, to be honest.
That's what I think Pittsburgh. I think they're going to play big as well. I mean, they have a couple tight ends that can really block. They've tried to rebuild that line, right?
Got a really mobile quarterback.
You got DK Metcalf
They
out
gotta-
there now.
they gotta-
who's-
Yeah, but
Run.
didn't the tight end that they just signed, he just tore his Achilles. They had, I'm blanking on the.
They have Freiermuth, and they
How's
just
it feel?
signed. Oh God, who'd they bring into
Yeah,
town? Was it Hayden Hurst? Somebody I forget.
No, but it's similar vein, but I believe
Yeah.
he tore his Achilles last
similar
year.
vein.
Oh, Conklin, right? Then they bring in Conklin went to
I'll
the
check
Chargers.
that, but
I
I
don't
believe
know.
he tore his Achilles yesterday.
But don't forget about the running threat that 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers is.
yeah, don't forget about that.
I think that you are
He's pretty
Aaron
tough. If he
Rodgers
falls down,
hater.
that's 3 yards.
I mean, you're an Aaron Rodgers hater,
Yeah, I
but
mean,
look up his stats
He's a statue.
and compare him to Josh Allen's. They're the same.
Well, not now.
No, last season they
The
were
rushing. That's what he's talking about.
overall.
Talking about rushing.
I still think his rushing game was always predicated on being able to step up and finding like 3 to 5 yards. He was never like, he was not Lamar, right?
Well,
Never.
no.
I think he still is faster
obvious
than people
reasons.
think.
Because we think he's like 0.1 mile per hour, so he's going to be faster than
So
that.
you have Pat Fryermuth,
He runs like he should be. wearing a
Darnell
tutu.
Washington, J.J. Galbraith. You're talking about Donald Parham,
Yes.
but Donald Parham's like a receiving tight end.
Yeah, but I think he tore.
Yeah,
The rumors
so
are he tore his Achilles.
that helps me. You know,
It's crazy that you know that because that's not a name that makes a headline.
I'm saying that
Donald
just
Parham,
that's
Achilles.
that kind of backs up what I'm saying. That helps.
Yeah, serious injury.
Yeah, he's on IR already. All right, well, Rocky, why don't you fill us in on the AFC South?
I guess I'll be quick here because obviously you don't want me to be slow. But
I'm just used to going last. I'm sorry, man.
I'm going to start with the Texans, and this is a running back that I don't particularly like. But the more I looked at him, the more I looked at his career, I kind of have him as that S tier in fantasy. He doesn't strike me as somebody who's an amazing running back, but it's Joe Mixon.
He will strike you though, especially if you're a woman
Yes,
in
he
the
will
middle of a
strike
restaurant.
You, yes, but Joe Mixon, he has finished 9th, 11th, and 7th in average fantasy points per game the last 3 seasons. He's only finished slightly above 1,000 yards, but he makes up for it some with receptions. He had 60, 52, and 36. Last year, 36 being the lowest one. But I don't think it was a reflection of him. I think it was a reflection of CJ having that sophomore slump and being injured for a few games. So no matter what I think about him, I think he's an S. Like, I have him coming off the board pretty early after, the usual suspects of Derrick Henry, et cetera. And then the one I'm really curious about is Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb, near and dear to my heart, absolute Browns legend. You and I talked before the show. I think if he can put together a couple more decent seasons, might even make the Hall of Fame. He had a 5-year stretch where he averaged from 2018 to 22, where he averaged 1,250 yards, 10 touchdowns. He was a stud. And I am praying and hoping that he has some kind of rebound and he's a good sidekick to Joe Mixon.
He's injured already.
Yeah.
He tore his ACL signing his contract.
Yeah, I'm gonna shut
yeah,
up, man.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
That's a little.
No. Look at his stats. Look at
that's a
his
little
stats. Look at his stats.
optimistic.
He is a Hall of Fame running back in a league that it's a lower bar right now. But if you look at his rookie season up until 2022, I think you can make the case he was top 2 running back in the league. Again, I told him, like, if he came back this year and had another 1,200 yard, just based on the comeback story, I think that you'd have to consider him.
It's funny you're making this point because
But
I
he's a C
asked
because of his injury.
I asked everybody online, hey,
He did.
Nick Chubb overrated, underrated, and I was trying to solicit some responses. So Go on the socials, follow us at GON Podcast, Guys on Sports, the Guys on Network, and you can let us know what your opinions on all of our posts. With Rocky, you should have jumped in there and said, hey, I think he's underrated because I think he's a Hall of Famer right now.
I think he's properly rated because of his injury history. Okay. But I think, to me...
That's not clippable, though.
Yeah, either underrated or overrated. Don't
crying out loud.
He always does that.
Give us something clippable.
He's not very clippable.
I think he's properly rated.
If Nick Chubb can put together another 1,000-yard season, he is a Hall of Fame worthy running back.
That's still not clippable.
That's better than...
Can I move on to the Titans?
You got to stand on business. You got to say he is.
Titans have a somewhat crowded backfield. Tony Pollard, who
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer Tony Pollard.
I mean, Tony Pollard is, like, honestly, if you look at his stats,
7, 8 more good seasons.
Been pretty good. I have Pollard as an A in skill, but a B overall because I believe that Tajee Spears is going to be taking somewhat of a share away from him this year. Tony Pollard, he was a number 22 last year running back. 23 the year before that, and the 1 year that he was the lone running back in the Dallas Cowboys offense, played 16 games, was a number 8 fantasy running back.
We remember it well.
Yeah, he's got potential. Again, I think he could be an A if Spears doesn't get put in the mix, but because I do believe that Spears is going to have more of a mix, I would put him as a B. I think Spears, though, is more of a gadget back. He's a good receiver. In fact, his best stats have come as especially for a PPR, 52 receptions 1 year. I like him, but I'm hoping he's not a true timeshare, and for that, I'll put Tajee as C.
Did he really have 52 receptions in a year?
Yeah, 52 receptions, 385 yards, and 3 touchdowns, and then last year
Jalen
he had 30 receptions, even in a down year. But only he had 312 rushing yards and 453 rushing yards. He's better through the air than he is on the ground. So that's the Texans. Next, we'll go to Jacksonville. This is a muddy and ugly backfield because they don't like Tank Bigsby. They feel like he fumbles the ball and has not shown up when he's been given the chance. They seem to hate Travis Etienne, even though when I look at the guy, I think he's a talented running back. I don't know why he's in the doghouse. Travis Etienne finished last year as a number 37 running back, only rushing for 558 yards and only receiving 250. But in the year before, he was the number 7 running back. So to me, he's an A in skill, but I think he's going to be a B at best in this offense because they just don't seem to like him, and because of Bigsby, who is going to muddy it up even more. They drafted Bashul Tutin out of Virginia Tech. He is a great season last year in college, 1,160 yards, 17 touchdowns, did have a few receptions out of the backfield, and is the fastest straight line running back in the draft this past year.
Yeah, it's because he's like 4'6".
He's not a big guy. He's 5'9", only 206. But if you look at him, he's got a low center of gravity, and he's thicker than you think. And in college, he was able to shut off blocks or tackles. So he's a little bit better of a runner than a typical
small guy.
I don't understand why the Jacksonville regime doesn't like Travis Etienne. First off, anybody that wears a swinging tailbone pad as a running back, is just boss right off the bat. You know that guy can move, right? You got some wiggle.
It's fair,
right? I don't
gotta live a good wiggle.
I don't get it. The guy, he's a very capable pass catcher. You know what it is? I don't think that they can suck up the fact that they chose their wrong franchise quarterback. And I think they need somewhere to hang that hat on. And Travis Etienne, I'm sorry, buddy, but it's you.
I mean, the year that he had 17 games, he had over 1,000 yards, almost 500 yards receiving, 12 touchdowns, 16.16. That year, I had him. And then wisely, I traded him to we got a jack off in our league. And I traded Travis to him thinking that I can't figure it out. They don't like this guy.
No, they don't.
And I can't figure it out because every time they give him the chance, the best thing that could happen to him is he gets traded, to be honest.
Was he drafted the same year as?
Yeah, he was. He was drafted as a compliment to Trevor. So And then the last team I got here, and this is my only S quality running back, is JT. Jonathan Taylor, when he is healthy, is a scary back in every level of the game. He is a guy that can run between the tackles. He is a guy with the speed to break tackles. He is an amazing receiver out of the backfield. PFF, I know you hate them, but they have him listed as a number.
It's been said twice.
As a number 14 running back, even with his sketchy injury history. And that is the reason that he's probably at the 14. He's last year finished 14 games. The year before that, he was 10 games. The year before that, he was 11. He seems to every year have an injury that takes him out for part of the season and minimizes his worth. But when he's on the field, last year, 5th in the number of carries, 4th in the number of yards at 1,431 in 14 games. That's the crazy thing. 11th in touchdowns. If this guy puts together a 17-game season, it would be scary.
You highlighted why I hate PFF. They have him as the 14th ranked running back. This guy should be in the same breath. You know what? I don't even want to say much more because I'll stop getting him at the discount that I am getting him.
Don't say it.
I will not because I am pairing him. So even if I have one of the top 3 picks, right, and I get Saquon, I get Bijan, I get Gibbs, one of those 3 backs, I'm getting Jonathan Taylor in the second round on the comeback.
It's crazy.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
It's crazy.
And it is, I'm not saying anymore because I want to keep drafting him there.
I mean, I think on skill level alone, the guy is one of the most talented backs.
He's got it all.
League,
He's fast. He's got top end speed. He can break tackles. He's a big dude.
What
He
else?
can catch. What? Because he dropped the ball before he broke the plane last year, and he doesn't play 3 games. Now you want to rank him the 14th best running back?
Hell of a dancer, charming conversationalist. The guy's the total package.
He looks honestly. He looks and plays to me like, and this will get hate, but like Saquon. He looks like Saquon to me. And you know what? People are going to have a short-term memory with Saquon because they're going to remember the backwards hurdle and the Madden cover, this, that, and the other.
Madden curse.
Saquon had some pedestrian games in New York.
The year
Very
before,
pedestrian games.
Yeah, the year before. Now, to be fair,
Okay.
to be fair, New York
Hold on.
struggled that
I'm
year.
not going to talk about Saquon. I'm saying with Taylor, it might just be.
The offensive line.
I don't know. I mean, Daddy Dimes is there, but no. I think.
And he's going to start, I think. That's the
No, he's
crazy
going
thing.
to start.
Yeah.
Well, he's better than
Oh,
they
dude,
are.
they're over AR too. If you read,
I would say last season, great season, right? But buoyed by some huge performances down the stretch. He still had 4 games with under 10 fantasy points. We have a 3.5 point game, a 6 point game, a 5.9 point game, a 10.8 point game. So there's some clunkers mixed in there for a guy that you're putting on the level of Christian McCaffrey or a Saquon last season. So that's not nothing.
Inconsistency at quarterback.
He missed 3 games to injury. He missed games the season before. So I could see PFF maybe being a little hesitant to throw him
they're not
up
as
so
they're
high.
not as bold as I am.
I'm just going to go on. I mean, everything you're saying is true, but I'm going to tell you that
But-
the reality is the line last year wasn't great, and they did make some steps to improve that line. Number one, they took Tyler Warren, who's a great tight end, who's also a great blocking tight end. They picked up Jalen Travis, an offensive tackle out of Iowa State, who I think is underrated and a really strong left tackle. And then I did want to mention this guy as like the backup, Khalil Herbert. That's kind of the name, but I think DJ Glennon is going to actually be the guy that comes out of camp as the backup running back.
Giddens.
Thank you, Giddens. Yeah, I think he is a special back. I know you were high on him coming out of the draft also. So I think you got a clear, in my book, A or S. JT, he's an S if he stays healthy. He's an A at worst. And then I think by mid-camp, it's going to be DJ that is separating himself from Khalil.
You know, we kind of made light of Danny Dimes being there in Indianapolis. Danny Dimes is going to win this starting position, and Danny Dimes is set up with.
He's clearly held back.
He's got
in the
Michael.
Giants.
He's got Michael Pittman. He's got Josh Downs. He's got Adonai Mitchell. He's got Alec Pierce. He's got Tyler Warren. He's got Jonathan Taylor. This dude he could potentially be a top 15 fantasy quarterback.
Danny Dilfer.
Hey,
We talked about Danny
I just want to
Dilfer.
say the Colts offensive line was ranked pretty high last season.
They were
And they're ranked like one of the top ones in the AFC coming into this year.
They are, yeah, you're right. But
And last season.
they were ranked high last year, but they had nagging injuries,
Yeah.
and they end up using.
They were on like their 5th right tackle
That-
or
yeah.
something
And-
like that by the end of the year.
and
And
I'm
they kept
trying to-
shifting everybody.
I think they picked up more offensive linemen off of waivers and forced them in. You're right; they were ranked really high, but in
No
actual
camaraderie.
playability, yeah. Well, I think it takes a while to learn, and also I think they just suffered some injuries.
They still finished as the 8th best offensive
And they
line.
also had to guess what AR was doing behind them.
That's true.
What would you rank Taylor for end of the year fantasy? Top 5, top 3?
So this is a great question because like who's ahead of him, and I'm asking this as much as I'm saying. So I think you got Derrick
I was
Henry.
just expecting an answer like he could be anywhere from 7 to.
Well, that's what I typically
12.
Yeah. I mean, I think like if I'm taking running backs, I'm taking Derrick Henry ahead of him.
Yeah.
Just on they're going to run him into.
There's
the ground.
definitely a handful of guys ahead
Yeah.
of him.
Who else? A healthy CMC maybe.
So
I
the ghost
have
of
him the
CMC.
back end of like top 10.
Yeah.
Like
See, like, to
9
me
or
that's
10.
crazy because
Yeah,
to me
exactly.
I think he's better than Brees Hall.
Yes.
I think he's better. I don't think he's as good as Bijan in
So
the system.
I have a list here: Saquon, Bijan, Henry, CMC, Gibbs, Genty,
No.
Bucky Irvin.
I would say
I would take
Achane.
Bucky Irvin over him this year.
No, so
I, would
I don't
not
like
take Bucky
Achane.
Irvin
I
over
would.
James
Why?
Taylor.
I'm
Why
not
would
high
he?
in A-Chain because of his size. So to me, you got Henry, you got
But that's not
Irving.
that's not absolute there. I think Bucky Irvin is. You can argue Bucky Irvin.
You absolutely can. Bucky's going to have a good
No, I'm
season.
saying
I wouldn't take
Derrick
him ahead
Henry,
of Jonathan
Bucky
Taylor.
Irving, Bijan,
Saquon?
Saquon, but I'm afraid of what this year looks like.
That's crazy.
I believe in the Madden curse.
All right, so then now we're just talking crazy.
Okay,
right?
but let's say, put Saquon. So you got Derrick, Saquon, Bijan,
The shell of
Gibbs,
CMC.
CMC,
maybe
Gibbs.
Now I'm starting to look at JT, and I'm.
Oh yeah, you could look at JT here. There's
But
like
that's
6 or 7.
But that's a fifth off the bat.
No, that's like 6 or 7.
Bijan, Saquon,
I'm looking at it.
Derrick
Saquon,
Henry,
Bijan, Henry.
Gibbs, CMC. It's a 6 off the board.
Yeah, but I would argue I would take Irving before him. I wouldn't take H.
Usage, you have to argue Irving. You do. Usage.
Do you know how many teams I have that's like it's like Barkley, Taylor, Irving as my top 3 picks? It's
Well, then, can I ask you a question? How do you finish like so bad in so many leagues? Then?
How much are they going to score in Indianapolis, do you think? I think that's another issue.
he
Daniel
just made a
Jones,
case.
Daniel Jones in New York for 5 years, like bottom ranked offense for 4 of those 5
But
years.
I mean, bottom ranked.
Ranked.
Not because of
offensive
Danny.
line. He was running
No,
for his life.
yeah.
Terrible coaching.
But their line is not that good, you said.
no, it is good.
Now it's good.
It was good last year, but it was injured. Injuries happen.
It was injured.
They said it was
Injuries-
good last year too, though.
They
At the
said
end
it was
of the
good
year.
because part of the offensive line is judged on production of the running backs.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Taylor, in spite of a lot of second and
Yeah.
third, he still
He was
found a
doing
way
it.
to get.
He did it all. Got
He's
it.
magic. He's a magic man.
We shall see.
Anyways,
Let's come back to this.
So again, if you're in a dynasty, I'm taking DJ and I'm hanging on to him. Maybe in the late rounds. I do like DJ Glennon.
Alrighty. Well, for the second time, that is the show. Are there any running backs, like I said earlier, that you guys want to throw in that maybe you didn't as like a sleeper? Maybe somebody people aren't really talking about that could have a role halfway through the season. Maybe you want to keep an eye out when you get to week 4 or 5 that you can kind of grab them off waivers, somebody like that.
in these respective divisions.
That's right.
I think we kind of highlighted everybody that is rosterable already. I don't know that there's anyone else that.
Well, Rocky might have somebody.
I mean, who was the no? It's
Who was the
wrong team.
RB3 on Ohio State that was?
I mean, listen, this is an.
I mean, he did have the Isaac Garendo call like a year
Isaac.
before.
Yeah, he's going to be the starter this year, too. He's going to be awesome.
Isaac Grando.
Peoples? From Ohio State? I think it's Peoples.
No, that's Donovan. Oh, at Ohio State.
Yeah. Well, that's who he was saying. Who's running back 3 for Ohio State. Yeah,
no,
that's
that was taken in the
Peoples.
draft. That wasn't drafted. That had to sign a camp deal.
No, we only produced 2 A-level running backs this year in the draft. But this is like you got to say, has there been another year with this many quality rookie running backs in a while? It's kind of crazy. Like it might not.
The CMC year.
Yeah, you're right.
The CMC, Kamara, Fat Lenny.
But how many years ago was that?
7.
Yeah, I mean, like to me, I don't know that there's a Bijan, right?
Yeah.
There's potentials. Maybe Ashton is that. But I like, man, you got Genty, Hampton, Junkins, Travion. I mean, you're going pretty deep with potential A running backs.
Scatterbo, come on, man. You keep leaving my guy.
I love Scatterbo. No, I do
leave
love
my
that
guy
guy, and
out.
I want him to perform.
Rex Burkhead 3.0.
You should be all on the hype train. He's white.
I think he could be Jay.
Rapping.
I
Jay,
don't.
he could
I don't
be
see color.
the new albino rhino,
That's what you're gonna call him.
Peyton Hillis. He could be the new Peyton Hillis.
And then he went on the Madden cover.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And then
and he
he
sucked.
sucked.
That was probably more about the Browns.
Mike Allstott Light. That's who they got out there in the Meadowlands.
That a
All right,
threat.
well, that's the show, guys. We thank you for joining us. Please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you know when we're posting a new episode. Follow us on all socials at GON Podcast. That's TikTok, that's Twitter or X. That is also Instagram. Please, please, please support. We need your feedback. And take this journey with us through camp and get you ready for your season. We love you. Peace.